What's up, YouTubers? It's your old buddy Hardworker 12 here with my new car. This is a 2021 Subaru Legacy XT Touring. This is the top of the line sedan as far as luxury that Subaru makes. And today I'm going to show you the features on the vehicle, I'm going to show you what makes it a touring, and we're going to take it for a test drive. So let's get started. Now we're going to start talking about the features under the hood, and of course the Legacy XT Touring comes with Subaru's 2.4-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. This engine of course made its debut in the Subaru Ascent. It has 260 horsepower, 277 pound-feet of torque. And I find that it works very, very well in the Ascent and very well in the Outback XTs as well. But in the Legacy XT, it has a little bit of a dual personality. But we're going to talk about that later when we drive it. Now, one of the things that I would like to mention is the badge, and more specifically the model designation. Subaru calls this car the Legacy Touring XT, or at least that's what the badge says. Legacy XT Touring, Touring XT, whatever you want to call it. I really wish that Subaru had called this car the Legacy GT, because those who have been around Subaru world for as long as I have know that the turbocharged Legacies in the past were always called Legacy GTs. In fact, all the sporty Legacies were typically called Legacy GT, and I feel like the only reason why Subaru calls this one the XT is to kind of dovetail with the Subaru Outback's success, because it is the Outback XT. And all Turbo Outbacks and Turbo Foresters, for that matter, in the past were always designated XT. But let's be honest, nobody's really going to buy this car anyway besides me, so they might as well make me happy and call it the Legacy GT. Subaru, I hope you're listening. Oh, hello. You just caught me admiring what is probably my favorite thing about my new car, and that is the interior. All Legacy XT Tourings are finished in Sierra Tan Napa leather interior, and it is gorgeous. It smells like an $85 steak in here. This leather looks fantastic, it feels fantastic, and it really probably is my single favorite thing about the car. Something I always tell my clients when they're looking at what car to buy, a lot of people get hung up on paint color, interior color, what should I get, this and that. Be quite honest, black was not my first choice of color. It was the only one we had, and supply is a little limited right now, so that made it easy. But I love the interior. Interior color is more important in your car buying choice than exterior color. The reason why I say that is this. You're not going to spend 2 hours in your driveway staring at the car, at the paint color of the car, but you are going to spend hours and hours and hours on the inside of the car staring at the interior of the vehicle. So it's more important to get the interior color that you like than the exterior color. And I love the Sierra Tan leather in this particular car. A couple of little things that set the touring models apart on the Legacy and the Outback for that matter are the extra chrome bits on the door handles and the satin finish exterior mirrors, which are also power folding. When you lock the car, the mirrors fold in. When you unlock the car, they fold out, and there's a button on the inside of the car so that you can do that on command if you need to park the vehicle in a tight space. It's the little things in life that make you happy. Now, moving on to the interior of the Legacy XT Touring, this is where most of the fun happens. Now, of course, like all touring models, this one comes fully loaded with all the possible factory options. It's got Harman Kardon stereo, it's got navigation, it has the eyesight safety system, the blind spot monitors, the rear automatic braking, etc., etc. The stuff that makes it special to the Touring, aside from having all those features included, and of course my gorgeous Sierra Tan Napa leather seats, would be my front view camera, which I find myself using more often than I thought I would, to be honest with you. It would be the cooled front seats, which is wonderful after a very hot day of running around a car lot. And the standard CD player for the audio system. In fact, the Touring, Outbacks, and Legacies are the only ones of that range that come with a CD player standard. It is available as an accessory for the other models, but if you want it standard, you gotta step up to the Touring, baby. One thing that I find to be very annoying on this car, probably my least favorite thing about it, is the driver monitoring system. So what this car has is a little infrared camera that watches the driver at all times when the car is running. And if it thinks you're not paying attention to the road, it will beep at you to tell you to pay attention to the road. My problem with this is it doesn't seem to read me correctly. So a lot of times I'll lean over towards the middle of the car while I'm driving, and it thinks I'm not watching the road even when I am, and it beeps at me. So I have to turn it off pretty much every time I drive the car. That's the creepy part about it. The nice part about it is that you can program it to recognize you and up to 4 other people, so that when you get in the car, it will adjust the driver's seat and the power exterior mirrors to your exact position. So it works very conveniently as a memory seating system. But I'm the only one that drives this car, so I don't really care about that. The other funny thing about it is that if you're wearing a mask, it won't recognize you, it messes it up. Just like the cops, I got warrants out, but they haven't been able to find me because of the whole mask thing. So that was all the features on my beautiful new Legacy XT Touring. So with all that being said, let's get it out on the road and drive it. All right, so driving the Subaru Legacy XT. Now, despite the fact that this car is 78 horsepower up on the standard 2.5 liter Legacy, which only has 182 horsepower. Of course, this one has 260. Driving it around town at light throttle applications, it basically feels identical acceleration-wise to the standard 2.5 liter Legacy. I would say the engine feels slightly more refined, and it's just a smidge quieter, because of course the turbocharger absorbs some of the exhaust energy. Subaru has definitely gone full lux with the application of the turbo engine in this car. It's not, you don't really hear the turbo. It is fast on the highway, we'll get to that, but it's definitely meant to feel more like a luxury car than, say, a WRX STI, where you could hear the turbo and hear the wastegate. They've dialed all of that out of this car. And again, around town, just normal throttle openings, it feels exactly like the 2.5 liter. It's a little bit smoother, the engine is, and a little bit more refined and maybe a little bit quieter, but you wouldn't notice the difference. I could see somebody who is potentially going to test drive these two cars, if they were on just kind of the normal dealership test drive route, you know, 4 right turns on city streets at 30 miles an hour, they probably would not see the value in paying the extra money that it costs to get the turbocharged engine just based on that. If you just drive this car around town and you're not driving it aggressively, you really don't see any improvement in performance. And I actually did a test drive video on a Legacy Turbo when the new body style Legacies first came out in for the 2020 model year, but at the time that was a brand new car. It didn't belong to me, it wasn't broken in yet, so I didn't floor it. This car does belong to me, and it is broken in. It's got 1,122 miles, so we're gonna see what she can do. Green light, floor it, you get some lag, and then she takes off. That's 50 already, and I gotta let off the gas or I'm gonna end up in the ass end of this Explorer. And we're gonna slow down a little bit. Of course, the freeways in Southern California are in some ways very conducive to performance testing, because you really have to go out of your way to get a speeding ticket down here. However, the traffic can kind of argue with you, but for short bursts, there's no arguing with the fact that this car has excellent straight line performance. However, you really have to put your foot into it, and there is some surprising initial lag. When you floor it from a dead stop, you have to wait for a second for the boost to build, the turbo to come on. It's weird because I'm really not used to turbo lag in modern cars. I had a WRX STI that did have some turbo lag, but even it almost, I think this car might have more turbo lag than my STI did. And I don't know if that has to do with the gearing. I'll tell you that I, on a potentially closed course, observed 2,600 RPM from the engine at 100 miles an hour in this car. So it is geared pretty lazily as far as the final drive goes. But yeah, it's fast once you get it going. From an initial stop, it's really not. And it really, this car is so nice. It's the nicest car I've ever had as far as like a luxury type car goes, even though Subaru is not a luxury brand. I mean, this really feels very close to, you know, a Mercedes or a BMW that would cost you $15,000 to $20,000 more based on the features and the performance and the size of the vehicle. And it almost feels like I'm driving my dad's car sometimes, except for the fact that my dad never had a car that was this nice. I love you, Dad, and my dad had some really nice cars, but not like this. And it almost fits the car's personality. Like, it almost is a fatherly, like, this is an adult man's car. Well, you don't want to be speeding in a school zone, so we don't need that kind of low-down acceleration at low speeds, but sometimes on the highway, for safety reasons, you may need to pass somebody who's impeding your path. So in those situations, it's good to have the top-end performance of the Subaru Legacy XT Touring. That's really like, that is this car's voice, you know? If a car had a voice, that would be this car's. Well, you need to be careful and check your blind spots, and just in case you forget, I've got blind spot monitoring, and when you're in reverse, always make sure to check the mirror, but I do have a backup camera, and I have the reverse automatic braking system. Now, another thing is the front view camera. When you're parallel parking, you want to try to leave equal distances between yourself and the vehicles in front and behind you. So always use the backup camera and the front view camera to make sure that you have left a fair amount of distance for the people parked near you to be able to get out of their spot without hitting your car. That's this car right here. But occasionally, on Friday nights, it gets drunk.
80, 85, 90, 95, 100, 105, 110.
And it does that. So there you go. Subaru Legacy XT Touring. Good in parts, great in others. Well, thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did like it, please like and subscribe to my channel, and have yourself a wonderful day. Bye-bye.